Here are the 8 absolutely essential reasons to avoid dairy. Number 1, parents, listen up. Protecting your child from developing insulin-dependent diabetes. The rate of diabetes in children under the age of 5 is rising dramatically. And according to a recent study, milk may be the culprit in children's being predisposed to developing insulin-dependent diabetes. Number 2, prevent heart disease. Dairy products have been found by researchers to be a leading cause of atherosclerosis, heart attacks, and strokes. Finland has the highest death rate from the heart disease in the world, and it has one of the very highest rates of dairy production consumption. And so, 3, keep from developing osteoporosis. And this may sound counterintuitive to some, but after all, we've constantly been bombarded by ads that forcefully remind us to drink our milk to ensure that we're getting enough calcium so we won't get osteoporosis. But as you know, it's just not that simple. In fact, this borders on just plain deceit. Look, consider this. Americans roughly consume more cow's milk and its products per person than most populations in the world. So Americans should have wonderfully strong bones, right? Unfortunately not. A recent study showed that American women aged 50 and older had one of the highest rates of hip fractures in the world. The only countries with higher rates are in Europe and in the South Pacific, like Australia and New Zealand, where they consume even more milk than in the United States. So these researchers explain that animal protein, unlike plant protein, increases the acid load in the body. And an increased acid load means that our blood and tissues become more acidic. And so the body does not like this acidic environment, and it begins to fight it. And in order to neutralize the acid, the body uses calcium, which acts as a very effective base. This calcium, however, must come from somewhere. So it ends up being pulled from the bones. And the calcium loss weakens them, putting them at a greater risk for fracture. So number 4, avoid autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune diseases such as multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and lupus may be related to cow's milk consumption. When we look at the China study, which was the most comprehensive study of nutrition ever, conducted by, I believe it was Dr. Campbell, who happens to be a PhD. He writes that one of the most extensive studies demonstrated on cow's milk that was found to be as good as predictor for multiple sclerosis. They also found a relationship with multiple sclerosis and getting or not getting adequate sunshine. Another reason to supplement with vitamin D3. So, number 5. Protect yourself from cancer. Today's cows produce much more milk than they did in the past. And this is due in great parts to drugs, antibiotics, artificial hormones, and many studies have shown connections between hormones and dairy products and the formation of hormone-related cancers. So by avoiding animal milk products, you have a better chance of avoiding breast, prostate, colon, and other cancers. Number 6, get rid of congestion. Dairy products are very mucus forming, leading to congestive problems with the sinus, throat, bronchi, and the lungs. And the protein are so abrasive, concentrated, and harmful to us that ingesting them creates excessive mucus production. And this can cause you to lose your sense of smell or your taste, in some cases even your sense of hearing. And of course it impedes on your breathing. So respiratory or lymphatic conditions, including colds, the flu, and the mumps, can largely be blamed to congestion due to ingestion of dairy foods. Number 7, safeguard iron absorption. Cow's milk tends to interfere with iron absorption, and it has virtually none of its own. In fact, it's so low in iron that you'd have to drink gallons of it in order to get the amount of iron equivalent to that in one serving of any dark green leafy vegetable. Number 8, prevent and clear up food allergies. Dairy products are the leading offender in food allergy problems. And if you think you're helping yourself by using the lower fat versions, think again. The lower fat variety is actually more allergic than high fat dairy products. And this is due to higher levels of protein in the low fat versions. It's the protein that induces allergic reactions in humans. Despite what you've been taught, supplementing with calcium pills are not a great way to get calcium. The only sure way to avoid osteoporosis and a variety of other health-related issues is to avoid dairy. Regular weight-bearing exercise, and this, by the way, is where chiropractic care can become a key player for most sedentary Americans. And of course, balance your acid-base load by replacing hard cheeses, cereal grains, and processed foods with plenty of green vegetables and fruits. This will normalize most of your nutrient and hormonal deficiencies. For D3, you will need to supplement and still get out in the sun. But the combination of this and the essential nutrition I recommend and a whole host of other biochemical pathways that occur in nature will balance the acid-base ratio and bring us also back into calcium balance. Remember this: indigenous people still living today don't get osteoporosis or any of the chronic illness we civilized people are getting. They tend to be leaner and healthier than any of us. Same earth, but a different environment in terms of nutrition and energy expenditure. So returning to what our ancestors did in terms of nutrition and exercise before medical monopoly is the only answer for the future of humanity. The difficult part, that choice is entirely up to you and no one else. At least you have the truth. And as John the Evangelist put it, the truth will set you free.